Welcome back. Fox 5's On the Hill live this Sunday morning. You know, it's primary day in D.C. on Tuesday. Residents in the district are going to cast their votes on one council member seat and also several others. There's a delegate in Congress to be elected as well, just over 2 weeks. Virginians are going to be voting in their primaries. There are two open congressional seats. Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger and Congresswoman Jennifer Wexton are not returning for re-election. Teo Armus has been covering the races in Virginia. He is the Northern Virginia reporter for the Washington Post. Teo joins us live right now. And let's talk about this open seat in Virginia in the 7th. This one's getting a lot of attention. It's got a lot of candidates as well, too. So what are we seeing in that race?
Absolutely. Yeah. So there's 13 candidates in total running, pretty competitive primaries on both the Democratic and Republican sides. On the Republican side, you really have these two military veterans with a very similar profile in some sense, Derek Anderson and Cameron Hamilton, who seem to be kind of neck and neck. They're sort of leading the pack in that one. And then on the Democratic side, of course, the spotlight is really on Eugene Vindman, who played a pretty big role in the first impeachment inquiry into Donald Trump. He is facing off against about four local or state elected officials from the eastern part of Prince William County, who are folks who are really sort of emphasizing their, much more local roots, connections to the community, whereas Vindman is kind of emphasizing his national profile, the things he did to stand up to Trump when he was serving in the national.
The 10th district is one that, arrived as a bit of a surprise because we weren't expecting that this was going to be, an open seat. And, it was because of the fact that Congresswoman Jennifer Wexton, had a very serious, debilitating diagnosis, and she's going to be leaving Congress, and she will say, quite frankly, she didn't want to leave Congress, but she has to because of her own health. The 10th was always looked at as a district that was a bit of a toss-up. For years, it was represented by Frank Wolf, who was a Republican congressman. Then Barbara Comstock, another Republican, had represented it. Then Wexton defeated her and then was able to keep that hands in Democratic hands. Where are we at with that right now in that district? Is that a district that Republicans are looking to hope get back, or have Democrats been able to put their lock on that now?
Republicans are certainly looking to be able to win it back, and preserve their House majority. But everyone I've talked to says that district has only become sort of bluer and bluer over the years. Of course, there was redistricting a couple of years ago, and that kind of changed the field. But demographic changes, I think, particularly in the Loudoun County area, have really meant that Democrats very much have an upper hand there. And they have, I want to say, a dozen candidates actually who are seeking the party's nomination there.
Some of the biggest spending that we have seen has been in, the 7th district. Are we expecting to see that in the 10th as well?
That's a great question. I would ultimately guess that I think the 7th is going to be a little bit more competitive in the general. Again, it's just more of a toss-up seat. The Cook Political Report has it just 1 point in Democrats' favor. And like I said, the 10th, it's not out of the question for Republicans to win it, but they would have to run a really strong candidate, have a lot of things going in their favor in order to ultimately flip that back.
Hey, real quick, down in southern Virginia, there's a Republican primary going on with incumbent Congressman Bob Good, who is the chair of the House Freedom Caucus. He's being challenged by Republican John McGuire. Trump actually has endorsed the challenger in that race. How big of a possibility that the Republican incumbent in a Republican district could get upended?
It's a very real possibility. I think that's something that a lot of folks are watching closely and in fact expecting. But the really odd thing here, right, is that you have these two ultra-conservative Republicans. I mean, people who are at the far right end of the spectrum, who are basically calling each other rhinos, over Representative Good's choice to endorse Ron DeSantis for president.
Teo Armus joining us from the Washington Post Live this morning. We thank